it is also possible that we combine or merge separated data. In this case, let's say we collected data rather that had all the entries separated this way. But our intention is that we would have preferred it to all be in one column. So to combine this data, we are going to use the concatenate function. Okay, the concatenate function. All right, what the concatenate function does is to help us join these individual data into a single data, right? These individual entries here into a single data. So let's do that here, say under full name. Okay, so we go ahead, we will say equals to, we'll say concatenate. Okay, now make sure that you spell your formulas correctly. If you have any doubts about spelling your formulas correctly, right, Excel suggests the formula for you, so you could just double click to ensure that you have the correct formula. Okay, so what are we concatenating? So the concatenate joins string data or text data by imputing the data separated by comma. Okay, now I'm going to do it this way, the first way, without space. So you will see while I explain how you do it with space. So you see that we could easily just combine what is here, say Agabus, Paul, and Onyema, by referring to the cell address, right? We could say concatenate B2, which has Agabus in it, and we say concatenate C2, which has Paul in it, and so we want to concatenate D2 as well. So notice how this formula is, all right? Notice the formula bar, right? So we have B2, C2, and D2. We said equal, enter rather, we press enter. So you realize that the entries are together without space, right? Okay, so remember while we were splitting the data here, we had a delimiter called what? Space. So we have to ensure that we insert that delimiter called space. How do we do that? Since Excel formulas don't they prohibit space between them, what we do is that we recall that the concatenate function is a string function, that is a text function, right? So it is used for text. So what we do, you see the suggestion here, right? Concatenate text 1, text 2, text 3, text 4, as goes on. So what we need to do is to utilize the quote, the double quote, to represent the text or the string. So what we do now is to say, we say open quote, then we put space in between the quote, open quote, then we close the quote, then say comma. So we've dealt with the first one. So between B2, which is Agabus, and C2, which is Paul, there will be space. Let's try that out and see. You see, we have Agabus, then space and Paul. So, but between Paul and Onyema, there is no space. So let us correct that. So we come to the formula bar and we say C2, then comma, right? We open the quote, right? Then hit the space bar once, right? Then close the quote and we'll say comma. This way now, if we hit enter, there's going to be space between Agabus and Paul, then Paul and Onyema. So if we hit enter, you see we have Agabus, Paul, Onyema, which is correct now. Okay, so right now you look at this clearly, right? You could see that we are correct. So the next thing here, the smart thing to do will be to autofill, right? To autofill all of it. But let us try once more before we go ahead and autofill. So little recap, we said equal to, equality sign, very necessary for formula. Then we'll say concatenate. Recall I said if you're not sure when you have an output here, a suggestion from Excel, you just double click to pick the suggestion. Slash is as far as it matches your formula. All right, so we go ahead and now in this case, concatenate Frederick, right? So we say Frederick is in B3, then we say comma. Now we want to put space, right? So we say open quote, space bar, close quote. All right, okay. Then we say comma. The next will be C3. We say comma, we say open quote, space, close quote, comma. So you see how this goes is that we are referring to B3, which contains a text. Then we are using the quote, the double quote, to indicate that the space is a text rather than just a space. Okay. Then we say the last one, which is Abraham. You see, we close our parentheses and we hit enter, and voila, we are correct. So, but what if you had to use other delimiter? What if you were meant to use, say, Afolabi / Matthew / Ifedayo? How do you achieve that? Recall that if you separated that in dates, right? Right? Okay. So let's just try that. Then we'll take it out. Then we'll go and try it in dates. Okay. So we have equal to concatenate, right? Open bracket, and we say Afolabi here, which is in B4, we'll say comma. Now, to insert a text in this formula, remember we have to use the quote, right? Double quote. We'll say double quote. And I want to use /, right? I close double quote. I say comma. Then Matthew, right? Okay. Comma. Double quote. / double quote. You know why, right? Okay. Then comma. And we go to the last feather, which is in D4. We close our bracket, right? Look at the formula. Okay, recall that anything we have to use as a delimiter must come in between these double quotes. Okay, so we said enter. You see, we have Afolabi / Matthew / Ifedayo. Okay, so this has no application here, so I'm going to take this out. While we autofill this, okay, how do we autofill? We come to this little box here, have our cursor turn to a black plus sign, then we double click. Okay, you see, double click and immediately you have it autofilled. Okay, so for best practices, realize that when this is a formula, and if you copy this formula, for instance, Ctrl C and say I paste it here, you see it gives you a reference error. Why it gives you a reference error is because there's no corresponding reference here to satisfy this. Okay, all right, so let me delete that. So the best way to do this is, if you were meant to copy this, what you do is you highlight it, then you copy it. When you want to paste it anywhere, you right click on the area you want to paste it, and then you say paste as what? Values. When you paste at values, you see that their values are no longer formulas. Okay,